Hey guys, Akhtar here. I'm back in London, and in this video I'm going to show you how to find businesses for sale. Now, if you're wondering why I'm producing this video, you may have seen my previous video, which was how to find businesses that generate you a six-figure income that you can purchase no money down, and if you have the right management structure in place, you can be passive, hands off. Now, when I put that video out there, I got loads and loads of questions inside my academy, questions from social media, and I'm putting this video together to answer how to find those deals. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 simple, effective and easy ways to find a stream and get a decent pipeline of businesses for sale. And I'm going to show you those in order of simplicity and ease. So from like easiest to hardest, okay? Now, I want you to stay with me to the very, very end, because what I want to do is I want to give you the step-by-step process. I'm going to break it down into detail so that anyone, any man, any woman of any level of experience can go out there and easily find businesses for sale, okay? I think businesses for sale is the fastest way to build wealth. It's quicker than property, and I'm going to share with you why in a little while, okay? The other thing I want you to understand is this. People often like think, well, okay, who am I? What qualifies me to be able to like teach you this stuff? Well, look, I've been in business for nearly 30 years. I'm that old, you know. I've been in business for 30 years. I have done 208 property transactions. I've built a multi-million-pound property portfolio, and that portfolio generated me a six-figure income that allowed me to retire at the age of 37, okay? And more recently, I've been building a portfolio of companies, of scaffolding companies, and also we have the Reaching Excellence Academy, which I'm the founder of, and I've coached thousands of people over the years with some pretty amazing stuff, if I may say so, okay? So look, it's my mission, it's my absolute passion to be able to help entrepreneurs who may be struggling to break through or struggling to get the results, or they've hit plateaus, to overcome that, to build serious wealth so they can live the dream. Life is short, life is precious, so we need to make the most of it, and that's my mission. I want to share some really valuable content with you guys here today, okay? Now look, why am I sharing this video? Now, it's not only in response to what people have asked in terms of the questions, but personally, on a personal level, when I first started out and I was trying to find property deals, business deals, it was incredibly frustrating. I remember being on Rightmove, like searching for hours. I was up till like the early hours of the morning. And I remember getting frustrated when I smashed the laptop up because I couldn't find any BMV deals or deals that stacked or whatever else. So it's incredibly frustrating, especially if you're also going to be competing with lots of other people. So if you haven't got deal flow, if you haven't got a decent steady stream of leads coming in, then you haven't got a business. So leads are the lifeblood of a business. So it's really, really important that you've got a steady flow of deals. Also, if you haven't got a steady flow of deals, this is where people get into a scarcity mindset. They get deal desperation. They jump on any deal that comes up because they think it's a deal or it's a half a deal, when it's not really the best deal. So you need to be in an abundance mindset, and the only way that's going to happen is by having a steady, consistent set of leads coming into your business, okay? So let's dive straight into this. Number one, the first thing is this: business brokers. Now, if you go online and you search and type up into Google businesses for sale, you find numerous websites. One's called businessesforsale.com. You've got Dalton's Weekly. There's numerous others that are out there, okay? And what you can do is scroll through those and look for businesses for sale. Now, one of the things I said in the previous video, and I just want to kind of echo it here, is a business is not a business unless it can run by itself. So, you know, if you can't leave that business and there's a team of people that are running it for you, it's not really a business, it's a job. And you have to make that distinction, because sometimes there'll be people that are working in the business and they think it's a business, but it's not really, because it's a job. So you don't want that. The purpose of doing this is to build wealth, to live the dream. You can't live the dream if you're running a business. And the idea is to not work in the business, is to work on the business, okay? So this is one way you can start, okay? You need to get that selection process right. The second thing that's really important is that you understand the sector and the industry. Now, I'm a big fan of service-based stuff, okay? So what I mean by that is things like, we've gone to scaffolding because, number one, scaffolding is something that's construction related. It's quite simple. People are just hiring scaffolding and then we're taking it down. And, you know, it's just, there's a constant demand for it. So things like scaffolding, things like tire shops, things like hairdressers, you know, nurseries, childcare nurseries. So these are things that people have a constant demand for. They're not like fickle things or fad things that could go out of fashion or whatever else. These are stable, long-term businesses that are simple to run. I have no passion for scaffolding. I just like the numbers, and I just know that it's a scalable business that we can grow, okay? So you need to make sure that, number one, it is a business, and number two, it's a business that has demand for it, okay? The third criteria is this: when you search online for these particular platforms, okay, you'll be able to search by turnover, by area, by geographic location, and also by the figures. Now, one of the things that's really important here is when you're going to go and do these types of deals, you want to be making sure that the company's making, at least after paying all of its expenses, £10,000 a month, okay? Because you want to be able to skim that out as your profit. So once you've paid your staff, your managers and everything else, you'll be taking out a 10 grand a month management fee. So you need to make sure when you're looking for these deals that they fit that criteria. Now, don't worry, like sometimes when it comes to these businesses, it might be making a little bit less or it could be making a little bit more. And until you look at the accounts, you can't always see what is what, okay? And this is kind of getting into the due diligence side of things. I want to just give you a little bit, but don't want to disappear down a rabbit hole. So the thing is, sometimes when you've got companies that owners operate, they put lots of expenses through to keep the profits low. So you just need to look at the books and make sure that it's kind of fitting. So don't worry if it's not exactly 10 grand a month. If it's 7 or 8, it's okay. It's all down to what what you're comfortable with. But you need to look at the numbers and you need to look at the figures to make sure that there's scope, okay? So once we've selected the right type of business to look for, okay, we can then go and reach out and contact that broker, just like an estate agent. What they'll then do, the process is they'll normally respond back. They'll make you sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. You send that back to them, and what they'll then do is normally they'll put you in touch with the owner of the business and you go out and see them, okay? So that's the pros of it. The pros of working with a business broker online is that it's very quick, it's very simple, and it's something that's really easily accessible. The cons of working with business brokers is that they charge extortionate fees. Now, the way business brokers work compared to how an estate agent work is slightly different. Now, an estate agent would normally, what would normally happen is they give you a commission. So you pay a commission once you sold the property. With a business broker, the problem with business brokers is they charge to list the business. They charge a fee to list it. And then if it sells, they charge a fee afterwards. They take a percentage. So they get 2 bites of the cherry. Now, sometimes businesses aren't easy to sell and they don't sell very quickly. Typically, like businesses can be on the market for anything from 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I've even seen a business that's been for sale for 6 years. Now, this is in our favor because you've got people who are highly motivated. The problem that you have is sometimes these business brokers go out and they overvalue businesses. And the problem with that is it sets an unrealistic expectation in the mind of the seller. Now, in our experience, and this is what most people in the M&A world do, the mergers and acquisitions world, is they typically pay around 2 times what the profit margin is. So if you've got a business that makes £100,000 a year, it's valued around about £200,000 a year plus any assets it might have. Now, I've been out to companies before where I've been out and spoken to a vendor. He was told by a business broker that it was 2 times turnover. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see what it is. So this was a construction company, looked very nice, amazing website. They turned over £800,000 a year. So I said, actually, you're looking for £1.6 million for this business. He said, yeah. And I said, okay, so what is your net profit? And he said, well, I don't really know. And I said, well, can you show me your accounts? And he was a little bit cagey around it. He came back to me a couple of days later and he said, well, actually, our net profit is like £70,000. I was like, wow, okay. So why would anyone go and spend £1.6 million on a business that makes £70,000 a year? It's just going to take forever to pay back. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's just a no-brainer. So he was set an unrealistic expectation by the broker. I've also gone out to other businesses. I went to go and see a tyre shop in Loughton in Essex. Nice little tyre shop, nothing else around it. The numbers weren't quite right with the business. The profit margins were just a little bit too low for it to be worth our while. But the problem that we had was that a business broker said that his business was worth 6 times profit. It wasn't. So again, the problem with business brokers is that sometimes they can put these unrealistic expectations in the mind of the seller. And I've seen it with property as well. Sometimes if someone is wedded to an idea, it takes a lot of skillful negotiation to get them to come out of that idea and down to where you need to be. So, if they're thinking it's worth 6 times, 6 times a profit, and you're only willing to pay 2, you kind of get them down a little bit, because sometimes what happens with people, and I've seen this many times before, once they get wedded to that idea, they're almost living it. They're thinking, oh, I'm going to get this 6 times, I'm going to get this amount of money. Then they plan their retirement, they plan their holidays, they plan this whole reality. And of course, when you come back with 2 times, profit, it crashes. And what happens is, in the minds of people, they have what's called cognitive dissonance. That means one idea that they've got of the amount of money they were going to get and what the reality of it is so far apart they can't compute, and the deals tend to fall apart. So that's the cons with dealing with business brokers. And the other thing is the fees. You know, sometimes when it comes to the fees, if you're going to do a deal with the vendor, the seller of a business, someone has to pay for that fee, and it's normally quite a ridiculous fee because they'll take a fee up front which the business owner has already paid, and sometimes they'll take a fee of like 2% of the sale of the business, and they don't actually do much. They do less than an estate agent. They literally just put you together, put the seller and the buyer together. They help you to set up a meeting. After that, they leave you alone, and they'll call you up and say, well, did you close the deal? They don't do a great deal in my experience, okay? So that's business brokers and the pros and cons. Let's go to the next step, okay? The next step is direct to vendor. So how does that work? So once you've chosen your sector in your industry or whatever it is that you are looking for, you can choose an area. So you could go onto Google. You could say, let's say we're looking for scaffolding companies in a particular area. You just do a Google search, and what you then do is you'll come up with a list of companies. Now, when we do this, I've done this before with my team, we tend to find 100 companies in a small area, and we do small mail shots of like 100 at a time, okay? But the process is this. So you get those companies listed on Google, you find whatever business directory, and you get all those construction companies or scaffolding companies. You then need to go to Companies House to make sure that they are limited companies. You then look at the figures on Companies House because it will normally tell you what their turnover and their profits are. And if it fits the criteria, then you whittle it down. You then need to get the director's details, the director's name, and then of course you will send a letter out, a simple letter that says, hey, Mr. So-and-so from this company, we are looking to buy scaffolding companies in your area. If you're interested in merging or if you're interested in selling out, then please get in touch with us. So it's a very simple letter. It's something that we have as a template inside the academy. So once you've gone through that process of finding those companies, checking that they're on Companies House, making sure the numbers work, getting the director's details, you then have to get someone in your team or yourself to write a letter out, post it and send it out, okay? Now, in our experience, this is great, but it's labor intensive. So you're either gonna need to have a team to do it. I mean, I particularly don't want to be sitting there doing stuff like that. I've done it when I've trained the team up. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it's something you can outsource to a VA or a PA or get someone else to do for you once you teach them the process. Now, for every 100 letters that we send out, we normally get like a 6 to 10 sort of replies. So we get kind of 6 to 10% response from that. And when we whittle it down, you get 3 to 4 potential deals that fit the numbers. So that's the direct to vendor route. Now, the pros with that is that when you're going direct to vendor, you're not dealing with the brokers, you're not dealing with people who've got unrealistic expectations. So that's the good thing about it. You also haven't got the fees to pay for, you know, with a broker and so forth, okay? In my experience of going direct to vendor, you'll always get a better deal because they've not been influenced or swayed, and also they haven't got loads of other people inquiring. When you've got properties on the market or businesses on the market and they've got lots of interest, it gives them that kind of sense of confidence about doing the deal. When you've got someone who isn't, maybe they're not even marketing their property, they're not even consider selling it, and you get that letter through, you've got more chances of doing a deal that's more favorable in your terms. So what tends to happen is people might look at the letter, they might hold it, and they might go, we're not ready right now, but if we are ready to sell, we'll come back to you. Or if they are interested in selling, they'll set up a meeting. So this is a great way of doing things to get better deals. Whether you're doing property or you're going to do business acquisitions, direct to vendor is definitely a way to go. The only cons with this really is just the fact it's labor intensive. And really, if you want to be doing this on a larger scale, you want to be scaling up to sending out 500,000 letters at a time. There's other ways that you can do it. You can buy directories of businesses. You can use something called Red Flag Alert, which is a directory of businesses, and it also tells you the health and the status of the business. That can give you indicators of businesses that might be failing and that might, want to be selling. So there's lots of different ways of doing it, but it's one of those things you have to consistently do to generate leads. So you're going to get into lead generation, and you're going to have to do something consistently to make sure that you're going out to those people, because even if you don't get a response, things change. You can send a letter out to someone, you can send one out every couple of months. Something might change in 3 or 4 months time. They may pick up the phone. So it's something you need to do consistently again and again to make sure you're targeting those people, okay? So those are the pros and cons. And the third way is cold calling. Now, this is not the easiest way, but it's sometimes the quickest way. So by cold calling, what you need to do is identify those particular companies. You need to pick up the phone, and you need to kind of get through the gatekeeper and see if you can set up a meeting with the director. Now, you've got to be good and you've got to be comfortable on the phone. One of the biggest problems that people have is sometimes they don't know what to say. They haven't got a script. They don't know how to bypass the gatekeeper. And if they do get in touch with the director or the person that's the head of the company, they don't always know what to say, okay? So it's important that you've got a script or you're comfortable doing that. That's the kind of cons with it. The pros are you'll get there very quicker, like a lot quicker. So in my experience of doing it, I have done it, sometimes you can get 4 or 5 meetings set per day. And if it's not something that you're particularly good at, then it's something you can either upskill yourself with, or you can get someone to do it for you. You can either find someone who's a good salesperson, you could find a VA that's good with sales. There's even companies out there that will go and set appointments for you that are good at doing that stuff. Teams of people in the VA, like VAs in the Philippines and so forth. So those are the 3 ways that you can use to go and get a steady stream of leads coming in to sort businesses out. And the great thing about buying businesses versus property, there's fewer people competing. When you go onto like Rightmove or you go onto Zoopla, you've got all kinds of people on there. You've got your first-time buyers, you've got the people who are moving up and down the ladder, you've got people who are downsizing, upsizing, then you've got investors and so forth. It's a very, very competitive market. When it comes to businesses for sale, there's not as many people that are looking to buy businesses because there's a very select few people that are doing it. And also, as I mentioned previously in the first video, the way that we structure those deals is very clever and creative compared to how the mainstream people would be looking to buy those deals. So typically the traditional vanilla way of buying a business is difficult. You've got to go and get finance, or you've got to use your own cash. It becomes tricky. So the way that we do it is by what's called a deferred consideration, which is basically vendor finance. Buy now, pay in installments out the profits of the business, okay? So guys, look, I've kind of gone into this in a lot of detail. I hope this is really, really useful for you, okay? And look, people have been asking me, Akhtar, why have you got more and more involved in buying businesses? Like, I've been doing property for the last 20 odd years. Why are you doing that? Well, look, here's the thing, guys, okay? As I mentioned earlier on, it's my mission and it's my purpose to help other people to build wealth, to live the dream. As I'm getting older now, I'm kind of preparing for my retirement, and actually I want to do things that will yield me a much bigger profit for a lot less effort. So if you think about this and weigh this up, now, if you've been on some of the property courses, or if you're just starting out, people talking about doing rent to rent, serviced accommodation, HMOs, commercial property, that takes a lot of time. It takes time to build the skill, the knowledge, the traction. And I've been doing it for a long, long time, but it's still long. It still takes a long time to build wealth. When it comes to buying businesses, it can take 4 months, 3 to 4 months to acquire a business that will generate 6 figures. It's quicker, it's easier, it's the fastest way to build wealth. And the model that I employ and the model I encourage other people and some of the students in the academy to do is to buy businesses that are already up and running, that have got teams in place, they can manage, and then use the profits from those businesses to either fund their lifestyle so they can live the dream, or fund their property acquisitions. It's a lot easier. If you're trying to do stuff cleverly, creatively, then that's great. There's some wonderful strategies you can use, but the problem with that is you'll find you're looking for needles in haystacks. You've got to get out there and get the volume of deals. So I want you to consider this for a moment, okay? If you're going to do what 99% of other people do, you're going to get what 99% of other people get. If you want to be a 1% entrepreneur, then you need to be doing what the 1% are doing. And the 1% are doing bigger deals, mergers and acquisitions, and buying companies. That's it, okay? So you want to be part of the 1%. You don't want to be doing what 99% of people are doing, okay? This is just like what the top tier do, okay? So become a 1% entrepreneur, okay? And I want you to imagine this. I want you to consider this for a moment. Imagine if you used to go out there and you used to put this into practice quickly and easily and effortlessly, where you're getting this stream of businesses coming through that you can look at, that you can go and close, that you can cleverly structure, no money down, and before you know it, it's not out of the way to be able to do 3 or 4 business acquisitions in a year once you've got your kind of traction going. That's like 30 to 40,000 pounds a month. That's big money when you're comparing it to property. But when you're comparing it to the M&A world, there's people out there that are buying businesses that make 10 to 20 million pounds a year turnover. It's small fish. So, the big private equity companies and the big companies that want to merge, they want the big companies. They don't want these small companies that make 100 or 200,000 pounds. This is why there's a wonderful opportunity here now for people like us. I want you to imagine what that'd be like. How much easier would your life be if you had a business that you could work on, not work in, work on, that someone else ran for you that brought you in 6 figures? What kind of difference would that make to your life? How do you be able to live the dream? Could you imagine like how easy it would be then to go and do more property deals and fund those things? So this is why I'm teaching this stuff, guys, and this is why I'm really passionate. So if you want to go and find out more, if you want to become a top tier entrepreneur, if you want to come and join the 1%, then look around this video, there'll be a link. Come and join our private Facebook group. It's a new group that we've just set up. If you want to talk to me or my team, you can book a call with us. And the other thing you can do is like and subscribe and comment on this video, because as you comment, your questions will help us. I'll produce more videos if you've got more questions. So guys, I hope you found this really, really useful. Go out there, be a top tier entrepreneur, join the 1%, join our group, okay? And go out there, build wealth to live the dream. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.